Well, it is a tremendous honor for me to be here, and I'm so happy that we are here to honor some really remarkable crews. The team that I have to talk about, the 2003 Varsity 8, was really quite a crew that led quite a team through a remarkable year, and particularly through our spring racing season. Let me see if I can give you a little overview of our experience that year. A fast crew isn't something that just happens, and that certainly was the case with this group. The fall of 2002, showed signs of potential. In the head of the Charles, our Champ 8 started 23rd, and wove and outsteered and outnavigated their way down the course to finish 10th, which was, in my mind, not just a step in the right direction, but an indication that there was a determined, scrappy bunch who had some grit. We went on to the Princeton Chase later that fall, and finished 4th behind Princeton and Yale and UVA, which, again, not quite a victory, but continued to reinforce that we were on the right track. Fast forward past the annual triathlon. You all remember that fondly. And thank goodness, given the ice on the Charles, which was showing no sign of melting, we had a winter training trip to Cocoa Beach. Yes. We stayed in a Comfort Inn that had a sand volleyball court in the middle. It had one single hot tub that the heavyweight men seemed to dominate, and a swimming pool. And that was fine. But the bay where we trained was great. It was a phenomenal body of water. The rowing sessions in Cocoa Beach were strong, the spirits were high, and the commitment to build speed and skill was all in. Julie navigated the myriad of channel markers, invisible from a coxswain's perspective most of the time, narrow bridges. You had to have a truly straight shot through, sandbars, lumbering manatees, and we made real technical progress in that winter training trip. And it was a critical piece of building our foundation of speed and feel for that boat. We came back to Cambridge to start the spring semester, but quickly realized we were still in the midst of a persistent and cold, probably one of the coldest in a while of all winters. Snow, ice, a blizzard or two were the themes of January and February. Ergs at Weld and steamy tanks at Newell. Bar circuits and more ergs were the focus of February. And at the same time, the coaches were doggedly trying to beat Mother Nature by breaking up the ice in our little tin launches. We had athletes shoving snow off the docks between erg sessions. But in the end, we just had to be patient. Not always our strong suit, but we were excited when we could report on March 12th, that there was open water upstream that came all the way down to the Elliott Bridge. I have to say that despite these challenges, these athletes were building their own commitment to each other. They wanted to be fast. They wanted to win. And they understood that they had to believe in each other. They had to support and challenge and work really, really hard. And that's just exactly what they did, each one of them for the other teammate. It was a super strong senior class that willingly brought people in and brought teammates up. They focused on what they could control, not overthinking, not taking themselves too seriously. We persevered through spring break on the Charles, still a pretty chilly stretch of time that winter, but had to postpone the spring opening race that was on April 5th against Northeastern and Rutgers because there was still ice in the basin. Our first race wasn't until April 12th in New Jersey with Princeton and Cornell and Wisco. Not particularly known for our speed off the start, but with determination and grit, this 1V won by 2 seconds over Princeton and more over Cornell and Princeton. And Wisconsin. Our second race reinforced that we were headed in the right direction. We beat Yale and UVA. And then on May 3rd, the same again, Radcliffe over BU and MIT. May 18th, actually, that year, the Eastern Sprints, which were sort of the precursor to what's currently the Ivy Championships, we won that race. Our Varsity 8 won that race over Princeton, Brown, Yale, BU, Syracuse, Cornell, Penn, Dartmouth, Columbia, Wisconsin, and Rutgers.
There you go.
And then we learned that we had received a bid to go to the NCAAs. And that was something that this team had had in its mind all along, that they amongst themselves had talked about, had thought carefully about what they wanted to do to be there, about how hard they wanted to work step by step to be there. And they did it amongst themselves. It wasn't something that I led or that Corey or Holly, who are our two assistant coaches at the time, it came from within the team. And I think that is one of the really remarkable and wonderful qualities about this team that I appreciate. Well, we went to Indianapolis for the NCAAs, and Indianapolis is a unique course. It's unpredictable in that there can be all sorts of debris. There can be, if it rains, there can be, some buoy lines you can see and some you can't. But it was a great regatta, and this team responded to the challenge. They kept their humor, they kept their poise, they were confident, but they weren't overconfident. They had wonderful combination of humility and humor, and as soon as they got into the boat, it would shift to intensity, and it would shift to focus, and it would shift to how do we together get off the line. I don't know that they ever really mastered that part of it, and how do we, over the course of the race, win whoever is in the lanes next to us. And they focused on what, if they couldn't control the start, what could they control? And I think that was one of their real strengths. They didn't overthink. They didn't take themselves too seriously. But it's the wonderful thing about rowing. You can take a group of people like this and put them together, and they find a spirit and a level of intensity and a level of commitment to each other that rises above the individual. And that's what this crew was. And that's what was so, that's what was so exciting about it. We were the only team at the NCAAs that year who had all 3 of our boats qualify for the grand final. So we knew going into that, going into the final race, the Varsity 8 knew that they had an opportunity. They didn't know all the results specifically, but they knew that if they had a great race, that we could win the team trophy. They didn't know that they had to win, but they knew that if they had a great race. In that final race, they raced exactly the same race plan they had done all season long, nothing different, nothing more special. But they knew that their strengths were their primary strength was their power. They had power, and they had this call, a freight train call, that they knew that if they could get some speed, they knew that they were sort of a freight train. As they gained momentum, as they gained speed, that's what was going to propel them down the course most effectively. So they had it literally, Julie would call a freight train. I can't remember if it was a 10 or a 20. Probably there were 20 strokes involved in that move. But I think what I most appreciated about this crew was their sense of humility, and yet their sense of character, and their sense that we as a team have an opportunity to do something really cool, that we can do something really exciting. And they were willing to do that. And it was something that they shared with their teammates, not just in their 1V, but throughout the team. And that was really important. So I want to say to Courtney, Karin, Anna, Liz, Heather, Caroline, and Tasha, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you. Thank you for the experience you brought, not just to your boat, but to your whole team, and to it's a feeling that still exists in our program, and I think you guys have a lot to do with why our team is who they are today. So with that, I congratulate you on being on this really wonderful recognition that you are receiving tonight. I'm proud of you for that, and I thank the group that's responsible for selecting you, and I thank the athletic department for this opportunity to honor this crew. Thank you.